So a long time ago, I once heard that there's a weird generational curse that has to do with gaming, and it states that every third generation of console is doomed to fail. Yep, that's it right there. So today I thought it would be interesting to go deeper into that thought to see if there's any truth behind this theory. Now I just want to be clear, there may be some fan favorite consoles in here, and just because it's on this list doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad console or that it had bad games. So in this video we're going to be talking about numbers and what also led them down this path in the first place. So without further ado, this is the generational curse of gaming consoles. So the way this is going to work is that we're going to be talking about three companies: Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Guess who's first? So the first set of consoles we're going to be talking about today is Xbox. Xbox's very first console, the Xbox Original, debuted on November 15th, 2001, selling over 20 million units by the end of its life. Their second console, the Xbox 360, debuted November 22nd, 2005, selling over 85 million units. And then their third console, the Xbox One, debuted November 22nd, 2013, selling only 58 million units. Now the main problem is the amounts that were sold, because eventually when you're trying to sell a new product, you want to sell more units than what you did previously, not less. However, it went second fiddle to PS4, which sold 117.2 million units. Well, at least it wasn't the Wii U, only selling at 13 million units. We'll get to that in a minute. Now why did Xbox fail during this era?
The experience. TV and movies, TV. Xbox, watch TV. TV. Sports. Call of Duty.
One of the fascinating new additions to your squad is a dog.
It's fairly easy to see, as they didn't focus too much on games and they focused more on TV. Not only that, but they were forcing people to buy the Kinect, which was famous for not working at all, no matter what game it was.
A good portion of that positive opinion comes from the use of Microsoft's second-generation motion-sensing infrared camera. Kinect 2.0's wide field of vision, 1080p resolution, and multi-array microphone for voice commands help sell a very nifty Star Trek experience.
Face attack!
As you can see, when I start making movements with my avatar, it instantly mimics me on screen. You ever wonder what the bottom of an avatar shoe looks like? Well, bam! There.
Along with very vicious DRM choices and the fact that the company themselves have said, if you don't want this, buy the 360 instead.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360, that's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
Microsoft's very anti-consumer promotion for the Xbox One and Sony's very pro-consumer commercials for the PS4 is what led down this path of this console being a failed console. Now 58 units isn't something to just write off, but the PS4 pretty much doubling Microsoft's sales at 117 million. I think a different outcome could have happened if Microsoft had focused on pro-consumer choices. The PlayStation 3 was not a bad console. However, the failure of the PlayStation 3 mainly was due to its pricing, because they really expected people to pay over $600 for their console, whereas Xbox 360 was about $300. And the thing is that the Wii was even cheaper at $250. So honestly, it's a no-brainer as to why the PS3 failed. But here's the thing, at the end of the PS3's era, it just barely sold more than the 360, coming in at 87.5 million, whereas the 360 was 85 million. But both of them ended up failing against the Wii, selling 101.36 million units.
I would like to play.
Wait a minute! Who are you?
But during that time, it was most definitely about either you were getting a 360 or a PS3. And without a shadow of a doubt, the 360 was definitely winning for the majority of that generation. It was only due to Sony's quick thinking that eventually saved the console by making the console vastly cheaper than what it used to be, almost cutting it down in half to $300, and creating some quality titles like The Last of Us, Uncharted, Infamous, and many more.
Had the largest shipment available to the public, and before noon they were sold out.
This is going to be the system for the year, and it's obviously going to be one of those high demand things. It's going to be extremely difficult to get a hold of.
Oh boy, I can hear it now. But KO, I was a 90s kid. I owned an N64. I love the games that are on there. I love the console, and I know a lot of people like it. Why is it on this list? Well, besides all those things, the N64 only sold 32 million units. Would you like to guess how much Sony's PS1 sold? I'll give you guys a minute. In fact, how about I give you a few choices? Well, I'm sorry, I kind of fucked you. All these are wrong. They actually sold 102 million units. They absolutely smashed the N64. But at least they weren't Sega, because they only sold 9 million units. Well, what could have led to their failure in the first place then? Well, it's because of this. Oh, hold on one second. There we go. So back in the day, Sony actually approached Nintendo about a CD-based video game console. And Nintendo was a little bit reluctant because they weren't having that much faith in CD-based games. And because of that altercation, Sony came up with their own console, which ended up beating Nintendo by a large margin. This is because CD-based games are vastly cheaper to produce and can hold more data than cartridge-based games. This ended up having a snowball effect for Nintendo, as third parties ended up leaving Nintendo in the dust for cheaper alternatives. Now, Nintendo did try to save themselves with the 64DD, which was an expansion to the N64, but who would have guessed it flopped. Even though the N64 has some genre-defining titles, it unfortunately was not enough to save the console.
You know, come to think of it, I've noticed a steep rise in Wii U's being used for not Wii U.
Nintendo's been around for so long that they've actually gone through two generational curses. First with the N64 and now the Wii U. Because like I stated earlier within the video, the Wii U only sold 13 million units, which is abysmal. Now what exactly ended up killing the console? Well, it was more than likely a couple things, but from what I remember, it was most definitely the marketing. And based on the way that they pitched the console, the gamepad itself sounded like it was an addition to the Wii rather than its own console. Because I'm going to be honest, this console could have been really good. The gamepad itself was fairly comfortable, and they had some amazing titles on there like Monster Hunter 3, Zombie U, Wonderful 101, and many others. And honestly, you can draw similarities to Sony's rough patch during the PS3 where they try and save the console. Nintendo also tried to save the Wii U. The problem is they did it far too late. And just like the N64, the Wii U ended up losing a lot of its third-party support, which meant it was up to Nintendo to create most of the games on the Wii U. But once they ended up losing that third-party support, it was near impossible to recover. And that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments section whether you agree with this curse, if it's true or not, or if you disagree. And if this is true, we'll eventually see the PS6 come out in a few years, and we'll see if they end up flopping as well. Anyways guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.